I'm very, very excited about this because The Listeners, a new opera by Missy Mazzoli and Royce Vavrek, opens tonight and runs through April 11th at Lyric Opera of Chicago. If you have never been to the Lyric Opera, run, don't walk, because tis an experience. And joining us now is celebrated librettist Royce Vavrek. Royce, welcome to the show. Hello, Royce. Can you hear us?
I can.
Oh,
Hello.
there we are. Hello. How are you?
There we are.
There we go.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, thank you for taking
absolutely.
time out. And first of all, congratulations. I know The Listeners premiered, I believe, in Oslo and then had a run at Opera Philadelphia. Are you all ready for tonight?
Well, you're jumping the gun just a little bit because we actually don't open for a week. We
Oh.
open next Sunday.
Oh,
And the premiere is at 2 p.m., so it's not even an evening performance. You can come, you can enjoy the show, and you can be in bed by 7 p.m. if you want.
yeah, I think I was just excited for March to be over that I just jumped the gun, Royce.
Totally makes sense.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for clearing that
No
up.
worries.
Right on.
No, people have more time to get their tickets and come and join us.
Yes.
Yes,
they do.
100%, especially for something new and exciting, like contemporary opera. Can you tell folks, because people have been describing it as a thriller, which I don't think people necessarily put that together with opera, or the many opera aficionados will say most operas are thrillers. They're thrilling events and highs and lows. Can you just give a brief synopsis of the story of The Listeners,
Of
premiering
course,
next
of course.
Sunday. Next Sunday.
The 30th.
At 2.
So The Listeners is an opera about a American school teacher named Claire who hears a low frequency noise that just completely takes over her life. It ruins everything. She can't sleep. It's driving her crazy at work. It's just exacerbating everything. And she has a student in her class who also hears a sound, but this is a sound that like 99% of the population doesn't hear. And so they go on a quest to try to figure out what the source of the hum is, this sound, and they find that there is a community action group in their sort of suburb, and they go and they involve themselves, hoping that this will be a group of people that are like-minded, that are going to hopefully solve this problem. But it turns out that it's really just the beginnings of a cult, and there is a leader who is using this as a way to really abuse people that come and are looking for solace and help. So that's the sort of meat and potatoes. But it is a thriller in the sense that there is a massive psychological journey, and everybody seems to have needs and desires and all those things that they're trying to figure out, and so it is a pretty muscular, psychological, driven piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a thriller, but there's also great comedy, good drama. Like it really feels like it's a 21st century story that you could have seen on Netflix or something. Like it feels like it connects in a very direct way like that.
Wow, sounds
I know,
absolutely
100.
thrilling. So, can you talk about your collaboration with Missy Mazzoli? I mean, how did the music and the text evolve together?
Yeah, well, so opera is an interesting thing in that often it is words first. So I generally come up with a full draft of the text of the whole show, and then Missy starts composing. But then there are musical necessities that require modifications of words, and like maybe there will need to be an aria that's inserted in a place that you didn't necessarily think when you were beginning to understand the architecture of the work. But yeah, so sort of on call as a librettist. So yes, I'm working with Missy to really lean into her musical needs and desires. And so I'm sort of, it's an organic process of things sort of. Yeah, there's a give and take in the writing process, but it really is words first, and then music comes, and then the words sort of shift based on the needs of the music.
And has she generally written for opera in the past, or is this a departure from what she normally does?
I forget how many operas we've written together, and I think it's like
I
six
think
or
this is your
something.
sixth, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
she's
I know, I'm on there.
She's
Because you've got
entrenched.
yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And Missy she is so talented at rendering drama through her music. So she is such a remarkable operatic composer. But Missy does write a lot of different types of music and for different forces, and not always for the opera house.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have found a very great artistic partner, which is a true gift, to find somebody like, oh, we click and we're able to, my partner and I like to call it dolphin speak, where you're able to just kind of like, that, oh yeah. And if we move that, yeah, over there. And then, yes, got it. No, don't, that whole thing, the shorthand. How did this our artistic partnership come about with you and composer Missy Mazzoli?
So we met in May of 2009 at Carnegie Hall. I was doing a project, one of my first operatic outings, with another major collaborator of mine, David T. Little. And Missy came to support David and a number of other composers who were on this program, and she handed me a flyer for an opera that she was working on and about to give a presentation at this long-lost venue called Galapagos Art Space in New York. And I went and devoured this 40-minute sample of this opera. And then about a week later, Missy and I had lunch, and she asked if I would help her complete that opera.
Well,
So
okay.
she said, I'm not a librettist, and I've been writing the text by myself. And it was based on these diaries of Isabel Eberhardt, a wonderful Swiss explorer, back over a century ago. And so she was able to take her ideas and sort of synthesize them into songs, but then she wanted to find a bigger arc. And so I came on board, and we really just hit it off immediately. And soon thereafter, we were given the opportunity to write our first sort of a chamber opera for a major house, and that was Opera Philadelphia, and our Breaking the Waves, which has gone all over the world now. And then based on Breaking the Waves, they gave us our grand opera commission to do The Listeners, and now we're working on 2 more operas that will premiere next year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know. It's like
They're quite a team.
that's what I mean. And finding those people that you can have dolphin speak with, especially like artistic,
Absolutely.
especially as you were discussing the writing process, where you come up with the narrative, you come up with the words, and then how it fits into the music. And it's like, we need to like this. Can I get like 4 syllables over here, or can we train this down to like 1 syllable? Like it gets very nitpicky, and being able to have that sort of camaraderie and trust with each other has got to be just such a blessing.
Oh my goodness, yes, the nuance of all this. And even in rehearsal, we're shifting tiny little things around to make it just a little bit more perfect if we can. We're always looking to sort of make it the best version that it can possibly be in the container that it's in. So, and every time we do it, we have different cast members, and so you get to see different interpretations of roles. And Missy was actually just in Germany for the past 3 days. She dashed from Chicago to see another production of The Listeners. And one of the cast members emailed us a few months ago and said, oh, my voice is actually shifting just a little bit higher. Would you mind if I modified a couple of the pitches that you wrote just to lean into what my instrument does particularly well? And she was very open to doing that, because we want people, when the singers look great, we look great.
You're right. Yeah. I'm telling you. So this is... The state of opera is always weird, just because, so many people have a preconceived notion of what opera is. It's, horned hats and braids, and, it's above your head. Like you won't be able to get it. How did you fall in love with the art form, and how are you kind of challenging those silly preconceived notions when creating contemporary opera?
That is an awesome question, and something I think about a lot, because I'm a farm boy from northern Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
I did not grow up with Canada. I did not grow up with opera. I grew up with Canada.
You grew up with Canada, yes. Apologies to your home country. not the 51st state.
Yeah.
Please.
Not our fault.
Yes.
But we
Yeah.
digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so my home was filled with country music, and my father played piano by ear, but he would play like the Bear Barrel Polka and Anne Marie's Could I Have This Dance, and so that was the kind of music that permeated my home, and I found opera. The internet came into my life when I was in probably maybe 11 or 12. So we did have this portal to the larger world, and I was able to explore a lot of weird musical theater stuff and opera stuff. And I had a singing teacher who exposed me to a little bit of opera, but I didn't see my first staged opera until I was 18 or 19 in Montreal. And in my mind or in my imagination, opera was sort of the antithesis of my upbringing. It was the exact opposite of the farm and baling hay and the wheat and barley and canola that my parents harvested. And so I wanted the opulence. I wanted the chandeliers of the Met and all the cool extravagance that opera, it seemed to it was defined by an opulence.
Yeah.
And now opera needs to be for absolutely everyone. And I feel like most of my operas could be classified as folk operas, in the sense that I write them in hopes that the audience of today is reflected in the work that I create. And so with something like The Listeners, it is a very contemporary vernacular. You don't need to read a synopsis in order to understand the whole thing. These people speak in a language that is directly accessible to them. It will sound like your mom and your best friend and your cousins are on stage, I hope. So opera needs to be something that we can see ourselves in. And it can be a place for shows about kings and queens, but it could also be a place for farmers to be rendered, or people who are hearing a low frequency,
or teachers that might be part of a cult. Who knows?
Exactly.
So what message do you hope that the audiences take away from seeing The Listeners?
I don't know that there's a message so much as I think that there's something really exciting about the energy of the work, how directly it connects, or hopefully will connect. And I think that there's a lot of fun to be had in this piece, and it does talk about big themes. I'm not suggesting that it doesn't have themes that are important and that are very relevant. But this is an opera that I hope that people, when they come and see it, don't feel like they're eating their vegetables necessarily, and that even when there are those vegetable-like themes, that they're going to be just so delighted, and it's really, really, really fun. I hope that people let themselves go and allow themselves to be taken over by Claire's amazing journey, because where she starts at the end of the opera and where she ends is a pretty fascinating ride.
Cool.
Now, is the production of The Listeners that's happening with Lyric Opera of Chicago, is it the same production that has the same the production values? Have they traveled the same with the show, or is this is Lyric Opera's interpretation?
No, so Lyric Opera is a co-commissioner of the work.
That's right.
And they commissioned it with Opera Philadelphia and the Norwegian National Opera. And so those three presentations have all been the same set and the same costumes, with different casts. But we have had the same lead. We've had Nicole Heaston, who is just a complete and utter genius, inhabiting the role of Claire for the entirety of those three presentations. But otherwise, the work has had different performers in the roles. And so, yes, the production is exactly the same. With, they have to be modified a slight bit based on the dimensions of the stage. But you will see the same production that Liliana Blaine Cruz built with her collaborators for Oslo, then transferred to Opera Philadelphia, and now to the Lyric Opera Chicago.
Yes, I've been looking at some PR images, and boy, oh boy, does it look great. It's just
cool.
It's really cool. So, look, again, as Royce said, opera should be for everyone.
That's right.
So, and I was talking about gateway drugs earlier. So let's talk about gateway drugs to opera. Make sure you go and you check out The Listeners, a brand new opera by Missy Mazzoli and Royce Vavrek. It opens Next week.
Next week, the 30th.
Next week, the
2 p.m.
30th. The 30th at 2 p.m.
Time to buy tickets.
And runs through April 11th at Lyric Opera of Chicago. For more information, go to lyricopera.org. Royce Vavrek, thank you so much for joining us today. And toy, toy, toy.
Toy, toy, toy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.